Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Agata.
Today, I would like to discuss with you how to select the suppliers. What is so important to pick up the right one for our supply chain?
Absolutely. So, in terms of charge, as head of quality, what I look at within the whole supplier selection and nomination process, in terms of APQP phase one to phase two, we look at the what products they currently produce. Do they produce anything similar to what we are requesting from them, or the technology or information or service? We're looking for if they're a tier one supplier where they mainly deal with the customer itself, so the OEM or the car manufacturer, or if they have other car manufacturers they currently work with is a benefit because they already have a knowledge base or a working relationship with what their expectations may be, which is common between each car manufacturer and OEM. We look at their history, how new they are as a company, their background in general, and their organizational structure. So this is, is it a fairly flat structure, or are we looking at is the roles fully defined of who's going to do what, or are certain members within their organization overloaded with work? For example, typically a quality manager might in a supplier be also a health and safety manager, and in my opinion that role should be split because both jobs are critical and they both need full attention and focus. So the next stage would be purchasing. So as I said, they research the suppliers. After that, finance will do a background check to look at their annual revenue, business plan, forecast, or any risks of insolvency or liquidation. So will a supplier unfortunately close because of financial losses and so on. And then finally, we move towards the quality or SQA, supplier quality assurance. So we will look at request of proof of certification. So in the previous video, we discussed briefly about ISO 9001 and IATF 16949 accreditations. We asked for that as a minimum requirement, and that tells us that they've got a functioning and accredited quality management system and a documented process. Obviously, the IATF side of it is beyond that and is a stricter requirement, but that is more beneficial if a supplier has that. If they don't have those accreditations, we will look to see, do they have a functioning quality management system, and does it have the spirit or principles of either or both? If all of the above is okay, SQA will send out a supplier self-assessment form to evaluate their manufacturing and quality processes.
This, what you said, is really a lot, which is mandatory for documented supplier selection process in ITF. Of course, there are five main factors which we in this process have to include in our organizations. Like, first of all, you mentioned about the evaluation of the quality management system of the supplier, and of course, ITF is saying minimum ISO 9001 with this pursuit to IATF 16949. Quality performance, definitely. Delivery performance. Did you mention delivery performance?
So delivery performance is something that we will check. So while we ask for this history and background, we also look, once we've done the assessment, some suppliers confidentially won't say what their claims are or what their issues are with the other main customers they work with. But what we will do is, after this process, we will go and do an audit where, based on the information provided and the type of component it may be, if it's an ASIL requirement in terms of safety critical or regulation and so on, those suppliers are targeted first. After that, we will look at suppliers which are fit and finish, function, appearance, cosmetic things like door handles, which is also a safety requirement, headlamps, which is regulatory, safety, and function and appearance. So it's combinations of supplies typically that Charge specifically will target, but as best practice, most OEMs will do the same thing. We do look at delivery performance, so risk of short shipment, if they have any constraints, do they have a delivery network? Typically, what will they use in terms of free collection or X works where they charge and so on? It just depends on the situation, but you won't know that until after the first audit, the first site audit, really, of whether they have any delivery issues itself.
Okay, so this is also connected to the risk to the product conformity. And also, we have in ITF multidisciplinary decision making, but this is really connected with the organization of the work and the organization itself of the supplier. Also, we have an assessment for the software development. However, it depends if this will be applicable, yes, for the certain supplier. You have a lot of also factors which you are using, which IETF is not saying as this is mandatory. I really like the one you mentioned about this portion of the business for automotive. Yes, because then
Yes,
we
yeah.
can see if the supplier is mature enough, to know all these applicable methods, yes, and best practices for his organization. Okay, we did not talk about, of course, the manufacturing capabilities, design and development capabilities of the organization, the resource itself, because more or less this is obvious, yes. So this probably we will learn when we would send RFQ, request for quotation, yes, or self-assessment, as you mentioned.
Yes, yeah.
Let's remember that there are not only the main requirements for supplier selections, it's based on the organization if we would decide to go for more, yes, like you mentioned, what is done at your organization at charge cars. Okay, thank you very much. Christopher,
Thank you.
I would like to invite you now for another episode. We will talk about the supplier evaluation and monitoring. So, quite important and demanding activities in our quality management system. Thank you very much.